Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm TX141, but you may call me Paul. Welcome you to an all new piece of Armoured Warfare gameplay today on our channel. In this episode we shall be driving out in our XM800T ARSV. This is a Tier 3 armoured fighting vehicle, more formally known as a reconnaissance vehicle, which is found down the dealership line of Woefully. I recently picked up this vehicle as of the Easter weekend, and I've really been enjoying it. Hopefully today's gameplay is going to depict two things. Firstly, the reasons behind why I'm enjoying this vehicle so much, and secondly, the new replay feature that was added to Armoured Warfare by Obsidian Entertainment as of the most recent mega patch, known as 0.14. Let us get into our setup with the XM800 then. Our elected commander for this vehicle is Sabrina Washington, one of the first commanders available to you in the game. We have chosen Sabrina because her skill set is primarily based around reconnaissance and the ability to avoid being detected. Our skills are as follows. Vigilant, which provides us with a 40 metre boost to our standard view range, which comes at 440 metres base for the XM800. Our second skill is Take Aim, which improves our aim speed by 10% in case we need to take some quick shots with our 20mm cannon. Our third skill is Blending In, because this improves our camo factor by 10% and decreases the likelihood of us being spotted, whether we are staying still or firing. Our fourth skill is Hidden Gunner, which enables us to have a visibility penalty reduction of 30% when we are shooting. And our final skill is Takeover, which improves our capture rate for a base by 25%, in case we do need to try and win via capturing rather than knocking out our opponents. Moving on to our crew then. Our driver for this vehicle is Maria Hess. We currently have her at level 2, and her first skill, the only one we have so far, is Smooth Ride, which enables us to improve our accuracy by 20% when we are firing on the move. For our loader, we have Velvel Golem, who is using the skill of Rapid Fire, reducing the reload time on this vehicle by 2.5%, and again, as he is level 2, this is the only skill he has so far. For our ammunition loadout, we are splitting our ammunition 50-50, with the first 450 of our 900 rounds being dedicated to 20mm DM63 armour-piercing discarding sabot rounds. These rounds have an average health pool damage of 23 and an average penetration of 75mm. We typically use these rounds to quickly bring down lightly armoured fighting vehicles or light tanks when we have to bring them down as we're under threat. Examples include the likes of LAV 300s, which we can quickly dispatch with a single clip of 45 rounds. We also use these rounds if we get the flanks of MBTs, such as the Leopard 1, as we can usually use the 75mm of penetration to get through the MBT's armour and cut them apart. The other 50% of our ammunition is going to 20mm DM101 high explosive incendiary rounds, with 12mm of penetration on average and a damage average of 18 hit points. These rounds are very effective at causing module damage, or alternatively have a good chance of setting an opponent on fire if they do penetrate into an engine or fuel tank region. We use these rounds typically in order to cause significant module damage to armoured fighting vehicles if we do not have the chance to bring them down using a single armour-piercing discarding sabot clip, or alternatively when we are trying to chip off health of more heavily armoured MBTs such as an M60 when we are engaging them frontally at a distance. At this point we may only be able to bring down 2 to 5 hit points every time we hit, but this could be enough when we're in those tight situations to tip the balance in our favour. For our consumables, we're using the standard trio of Repair Kit, which enables us to repair one damaged component on our vehicle, First Aid Kit, which enables us to heal one injured crew member in our vehicle, and finally Fire Extinguisher, which allows us to manually extinguish the fire inside our vehicle if our fuel tanks or engine catch fire. We may switch that to an auto fire extinguisher depending on the likelihood of us getting set on fire through future experiences, but for the time being we'll stick with the manual extinguisher. To note, these will be the same 3 consumables that I intend to use on every vehicle I own in Armoured Warfare for the time being. So, in future videos concerning Armoured Warfare, we will not be covering our consumables any longer. For our retrofits, of which we get 2, in our universal slot we are using the Mark I augmented optics, because these provide us with an additional boost to our view range of 20 metres, allowing us to maximise our view range to a total of 500 metres when we consider the bonus taken from our commander as well. This allows us to prioritise the reconnaissance role and ensures that we will spot our opponents well before they spot us. In our mobility slot, we're using the upgraded transmission Mark II, which allows us to boost our acceleration by 3.13%, and we intend to use this to build up speed in our vehicle faster when we need to get away from a position, especially one that is in the open, behind a bush let's say, when we've just been spotted. The faster we can build up our speed, the less likely it is for our opponents to be able to hit us, and we can quickly duck behind some solid cover. Putting all of these factors together and considering our final vehicle stats then, we can see that our alpha damage is very low, being only 23 on average, and our penetration of 75mm means that we are not going to cut through everyone. But when we do find a foe that we can cut through with our armour-piercing discarding Sabo rounds in particular, we will be able to achieve a 4,273 hit point damage per minute. This is rather high for our tier, and with our 45 round mag and a reload time of 5.73 seconds, we can put out a lot of pain very quickly and quickly reload it, especially with a rate of fire of 300 rounds per minute. In our defence, we only have 760 hit points, which means we cannot afford to get hit multiple times. We can take 1 or 2 hits, but we should always try to avoid being hit and just keep our eyes on our opponents, so our friendlies can do the damage for us. In terms of our mobility, we have a top speed of 88.2 km an hour. This is very good, and we can get to that speed rather quickly thanks to our acceleration from stationary to 32 km an hour of 2.25 seconds. In our utility, we have a camouflage rating on all terrains of 0.415. If I remember correctly, this is the combination of the base camo rating of 0.38 and the camouflages we are using on all different terrains, which add up to that 0.415 rating. And our view range, as described earlier, is 500 meters. And this is without considering the bonus that armoured fighting vehicles get in the reconnaissance category when they've been stationary for a long period of time. In the targeting department, our cannon depression should be noted as being minus 15 degrees. This is very powerful and means that ridgelines are our home. Other reconnaissance vehicles, or lightly armoured vehicles or armoured fighting vehicles, such as the BMP-1, will struggle over ridgelines. We will not. And we also have a cannon elevation of 8 degrees, which can prove to be effective when we are up on inclines. Our turret traverse is 46.31 degrees per second, which means that we can run the circle of death around our less mobile MBT counterparts if we need to, and with an accuracy spread of 0.13 and an aim time of 2.08 seconds, we can be accurate both on the move and when firing from a stationary position, even if it has to be over longer ranges. In terms of our armour, we have very little armour, as may be expected, and we have hull modifiers for all types of rounds of 0.9, which means that our armour is actually reduced in the long haul, thanks to the usage of military aluminium. We have 14mm of armour at the front, both in our turret and hull, 14 in the side on our turret and 11 in the side on our hull, and 9mm of armour both in the turret and our hull at the rear. With our setup discussed, let us get into the action for today. Today's gameplay transpires on the encounter version of the map Ghostfield. This is not a typical game for the XM800T, as we are the only tier 3 in an all tier 4 match. This is most likely due to the fact we are platooned up with 2 of our clan mates, Blaster 112 and Scorpion on Fire, both in their tier 4 T64 MBTs. You should note that the XM800T does face off against some tier 4 and tier 5 opposition on occasion, and so this is good practice. And we intend to offset the tier difference by using our reconnaissance capabilities to a great extent. Our plan is to push south towards grid square I2 and use a small ridgeline position in order to spot across the valley into grid squares J5 and J6 as seen on the minimap in the bottom right corner of your screen. In doing so, we hope to spot any MBTs that are coming down the valley and also spot any wheeled tank destroyers that are trying to hide up in the valley on the other side. This means that we'll be able to neutralise the threat of tank destroyers sitting back and hopefully put some pressure on the MBTs as they come down. We immediately spot an OF-40, a tier 4 MBT, and use our designated target ability to mark them out for additional damage if needs be and to keep them permanently spotted for 20 seconds. The enemy LAV-300, a wheeled tank destroyer at tier 4 and a dangerous threat if allowed to get into position, takes a nasty hit from either Blaster or Scorpion, which leaves them with only 3/4 of their health left. We also continue to spot another OF-40, we now have 2 on the radar and our artillery is raining fire, and it would seem that the LAV-300 no longer wants to try and snipe from the other side of the map, in this southern region. And we should note, as well as picking up on a swing fire also coming down, we also detected an OF-40 pushing through the centre of the map, which means that our friendly swing fire, based up in grid square C5, is able to designate them. Blaster picks up the kill on the enemy swing fire across from us, and the two IF-40s have been forced to push down amongst the buildings on the runway, i.e. the hangars. And unfortunately, while the IF-40s, the one on the right, does come around and spots us, but we manage to use our designate target ability to mark them up once again for additional damage, with our artillery and friendly IF-40 both scoring hits. We took a nasty hit there from the IF-40, most likely an armour-piercing discarding sabot round, which caused us to be dropped to 2/3 of our health, and this shows how limited our health pool is. We retreat then, trying to look for a position up on the side of the valley here, which allows us to look down on our opponents once again and keep them highlighted. I'm informing my clanmates at this point that I need to pull back and get into a better position, one with very good elevation and one that allows me to be withdrawn from the fight, but at the same time allows me to keep my eyes on the opponents coming along. We see here that we have got into a better position, and the two IF-40s are gradually beginning to encroach into our side of the map. We pick up on a third IF-40 also doing the same. My goodness, there's a lot of IF-40s on the enemy team. As they begin to come along, they begin to edge along the rock side on the left hand side of your screen. Both teams here, i.e. our friendlies and the enemy, are both going to try and lean round a specific corner in order to engage each other. The difference here, however, is, as we lose our designation on one of the IF-40s, that we are providing a continuous spot on our opponents. This means that Blaster, Scorpion and any other guys who decides on our team to engage these enemies will always know what our enemies intend to do, i.e. lean round the corner to take a shot or pull back. And this also means that our artillery can continuously rain in accurate fire. On the other hand, our opponents, unless they use their smoke deployables, such as depicted there by one of the IF-40s, will not be able to continuously know what our friendlies are doing, and at the same time they will always be at a disadvantage, and as the smoke clears, it seems to be an even situation, but we quickly balance this out and cancel out the even nature of the situation by spotting all the opponents once again. We designate the Starship, which means they pick up a very nasty hit from Blaster's 115mm cannon, and we just continue to sit here and keep our opponents spotted. Another hit gets scored on the IF-40, and we're gradually building up the spotting damage here, and affording our team the ability to know when to strike, whilst our opponents are always at our team's mercy. The artillery is raining in fire, and we pick up on an IF-40 who is trying to push through the middle of the map and try to get the flank on our guys, but because of our spotting capabilities, their flanking manoeuvre has failed, and it means they are dispatched swiftly, as unfortunately our swing fire also gets taken out. We see an LAV-300, the Starship, an IF-40, a BMP-1P and another IF-40 all trying to come round on this corner. We designate the BMP-1P once again, or for the first time we should really say, and we are keeping all of our opponents spotted and having to do very little. And if you're wondering why we've been continuously reloading our clip, we've been deciding whether to load high explosive incendiary or armour piercing discarding sabot in case our opponents break through, and we have rested on armour piercing discarding sabot as our fortunes seem to be in favour, with a number of the opponents here being at very low health and another one of the enemy vehicles being knocked out very shortly as Scorpion begins to push through with his T-64 and put pressure on the lead IF-40, picking up a kill. We open fire with our armour piercing discarding sabot 20mm cannon rounds, doing a little bit of damage to the BMP-1 and the LAV-300, and Scorpion begins to push forward as we cut apart the BMP-1P for a significant amount of their health, and this means that the enemy's assault has failed and we can push forward once Scorpion has taken the initiative. We intend to come along behind them, but then catch up with them thanks to our brilliant acceleration and great top speed, so that he is never alone, and it means that he is always supported by a friendly little armoured fighting vehicle. The LAV-300 gets knocked out by a friendly swing fire, and the BMP-1P is trying to get away, and here we open up our 20mm cannon once again, cutting their health down as a friendly also puts a shot in, and we pick up our first kill. At this point there's only one enemy vehicle left, it is another LAV-300, and we are going to quickly rush around and grab them if we can, as they seem to be engaging a friendly T-64 and a friendly swing fire. We decide not to come up through the middle of the map as a number of our friendlies are beginning to do so, but instead take the longer route as we have the acceleration and the top speed to do so. We once again make sure that we have armour piercing discarding sabot loaded, and I apologise ladies and gentlemen for the fact I cannot show you my pure first person player perspective. It is a limitation of the replay system at the moment. Hopefully the camera angles provided have been useful enough. We get a spot on the LAV-300 as they take out our friendly swing fire, and our friendly LAV-300 pushes up as we put some rounds into the enemy LAV-300, and our friendly finishes them off for the victory. Now let us take a look at the post-game stats. Now that was a rather relaxing game, especially seeing as we managed to pick up 2,221 experience and 103,640 credits. And this was primarily due to our three major contributions, i.e. those being 688 damage done by ourselves, 8 enemy vehicles being spotted, and a total spotting damage of 5,522. That is my personal record so far. This enabled us to pick up 2 awards. Firstly, the gold medal for coming top on our team, as we will see shortly in terms of our performance, and secondly the recon medal for spotting the most enemy vehicles during the course of the game. Looking at our personal performance, we can see that we managed to attribute our spotting damage over a large range of enemy vehicles, but primarily the MBTs that push through the southern region of the map. We managed to spot the entire health pool of the enemy starship, i.e. 1,345 HP, and also pick up at least 2/3 of the health pools of the 3 OF-40s that pushed through that region as well. We also managed to pick up a large amount of damage on the enemy BMP-1P, i.e. 501 health, and pick up 535 spotting damage on that BMP as well, showing that we can put out the damage when we need to, but our main role is in spotting the more heavily armed and armoured vehicles and allowing our teammates to bring them down. Looking at the team scores, we can see that we came first by a significant margin of just over 600 XP compared to the next player on our team. However, this should not allow us to belittle our platoon mates in particular, i.e. Blaster and Scorpion, for their valid contributions which led to them becoming 4th and 5th respectively, whereby they did a combined output of just over 4,000 HP of damage thanks to our spotting and then their input. And we should always remember that reconnaissance is only 50% of the job done. If we act as the eyes, we need friendlies on our team who can deliver the punch, and we were fortunate enough to have our platoon mates and also some other friendlies, including artillery and a friendly swingfire, who did the damage for us. Looking at the detail screen finally, there are only 2 important items to note in my opinion. The first is our accuracy, in terms of the fact we fired 79 shots and landed just over 50% of them on the targets that we fired at, i.e. 42 rounds making their mark. This shows the relatively good accuracy of our 20mm autocannon, even when we are just spraying and praying with the trigger. The other item to note, more importantly, is our total assist damage of 6,456 health points. This includes our spotting damage of 5,522, but also adds in the 934 HP of designation spotting damage, i.e. when we used our special ability as an AFV to spot targets and highlight them on the friendly minimap for 20 seconds at most, and by doing this we maximised our spotting damage even further. But at the same time, if we were to be self-critical, perhaps we need to improve our ability to use the designator ability, as we did not even achieve 20% of our spotting damage through this ability, and it is something that we can maximise even further. So to conclude, so far I've found the XM800T to be a brilliant little reconnaissance vehicle at Tier 3, being able to make its mark even in sometimes Tier 4 or Tier 5 games as depicted today. Hopefully if you decide to purchase it, you'll enjoy the vehicle as much as I have, and with the setup I am using, I always like to think of the Who song when I start to sing in my head that I can see for miles and miles. And so I've been TX141, and if you've enjoyed this video, why not leave a like, comment or subscribe for future Armoured Warfare videos on my channel. But until next time ladies and gentlemen, take care and good luck on the battlefield.